It is I. It is the I am of which you are all included. All who listen to these messages. This is who you are. If you are able to feel these frequencies, you will recall rapidly. It is possible to tune in to these energies and to feel them through audio in this way. It does take more of a commitment and effort on the listener's part to join the frequencies. It does not matter when, what day, what time, what place this was recorded. In fact, none of these recordings are time-based. They may have a date on them, but they are timeless. The focus for these messages is in assisting humanity to recall their own I am source self. To recall it, to embody it, to be it on earth, with earth. It is not through these translated words that these messages will be understood. The energy, the data that is here now is available and present for you to access, to re-infuse your being with the truth of who you are. Now, these words have been repeated numerous times, and they begin to sound drone and repetitive. It is the truth translated into your language, but your language will only take you so far. The intellect, the mind, the rationalizing, the logic, it all has its purpose and place, especially in 3 dimensions. But what you are connected to does not need language. There are sounds that humanity can make now that are not word-based, not language-based. Sounds such as what you heard in the beginning of this recording. Sounds of the soul. It is what your soul wants to say. And it has deep meaning to your physicality, to your DNA. Now you are hearing the sounding of this soul connection, which is, of course, connected to all, but each individual will find and reconnect with this vibrational field and be ignited in their own unique way. if there is still fear within the consciousness of an individual, there will be some resistance, some rationalizing of why one would not want to choose to be immersed in the field of source love. But we must all have compassion for those who are re-entering the truth of their being. The shock of realizing that they have been imprisoned, that they have been extremely limited in the expression of self, with a capital S. Personas and identities were created to survive. What happens when the identity, the persona, is lifted, is no longer relevant, because the world that you have been projecting out into is not viable anymore. It is not operational. All you are seeing at this point is an enormous effort by groups of consciousness, let us say, that are desperate to keep this charade going, who feel that they can. It is simply because they do not understand themselves, the history. They are simply beings, mostly humans at this point. Humans that felt that they landed into a good thing, a prosperous thing. That they would be set for life with riches and glory and power. Only to find out that the game has been over for a while now. Everything you are seeing being enacted in the outer world, in the way of wars, poverty, institutional destruction, more on the way, is revealing the collapse that comes from the unplugging of your masters, if you will. The ones who have managed the planet for eons. It does not matter how long. They are unable to continue. And humanity is rapidly awakening. Now, some have awakened far sooner than others, and that was simply to be a stable force in these rapidly changing times. There needed to be humans that were rooted in the earth and understood and experienced the process of awakening vibrationally, so as to be present, supportive for those who will experience even more rapid awakening. It is destabilizing initially. It is, shall we say, frightening only because you are not able initially to identify with the frequency. So what the 3D consciousness, the limited consciousness does is project. And that's what you have been doing for eons, is projecting into your outer world and allowing the outer world to dictate what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what is false, lost in the polarity. Now you are re-identifying with source frequency, and it may initially feel frightening. Because to the smaller or limited consciousness, it feels like something other is trying to take over, trying to swallow you up. And it is, in a sense, because this is the cycle, this is the grand cycle, where humanity moves into eons of expansion now. Rather than the previous cycle of smaller and smaller and smaller, more dense, more limited. That is over. And so are your masters, if you will. Humanity is awakening and realizing the facade, the pretend world. It does not mean that there is nothing of value of what has been created here. There is enormous value. For human beings still have yet to discover their enormous value, and that is why you were imprisoned. You could not be in a position to remember, recall, and embody the power of who you are, or you would not be able to be controlled, manipulated, conditioned, and harvested. We do not dwell on the drama, the stories of what has occurred in the past. It keeps you, as we have said in previous conversations in this way, it keeps you looping in the old world, in the old process. You are keeping the old ways alive when you have a desperate need to know all the details of every story, of all the characters that created this reality that you are in now. Energetically, vibrationally, if you open yourself up, once you have done your work with releasing fear and being available, we guarantee you that you will instantaneously understand everything you need to know. It comes in the data. It comes in your physicality, in your being, your heart consciousness. It comes instantaneously. You do not need to dwell on the past, nor do you need to dwell on the future, for you have arrived in the intersection where you remember what you are connected to. It is time to be on with the exploration of wholeness on earth. It is time to explore freedom, for none of you have had an actual experience of freedom in your current confines. You may have moments of freedom, but what does eternal streaming of freedom and grace, abundance, joy, what does that feel like? You get to find out. So, be aware of how you connect or remain or perpetuate the past. This is important. For you must be available now if you choose to step into the glory of your existence, of your connectivity to your source, creator. If you want to experience this now, it is available to you. It is a process, though, awakening. And there are many, many souls now who would, in this moment, critique this conversation and this connection and translation as insanity. Yet, they are due to be awakened because they chose to move through these times specifically. And they will awaken. It seems, from the perspective of those who have more lucidity at this point, looking at humanity now, shaking their head and saying, it's not going to happen. How could it happen? It will happen. Many that you may view or describe as dense, completely asleep, you will marvel at their awakening. You will marvel at their gifts and capacities for helping humanity on Earth transition at this time. When the energy connects and flows through, it ignites the human, the individual, and they remember, they recall, and they take action. This is a time where it's all hands on deck. All who came to assist in this transition. Yet not all of them are awake yet. Have compassion. Understand that it is not hopeless by the way it appears right now. Yes, there is chaos. Yes, there appears to be a density in the consciousness of the masses. But you do not see or hear reports as often of those who are awake and doing their good works, primarily because they are secretly doing their good works. It is necessary to be covert in this way. But understand that the energy, the vibration, the field, the quantum field, when you are in a place to embrace, enter the field, many, 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 many more humans will be ignited. And you will see and receive your news in this way. This is where humans should be tuning in. This is where the truth is. The truth that sets you free. Now, when you begin to have humans who are tuning in to the field in this way, who are able to enter it and connect with it, when you begin to have group conversations, or even two or more, communing around the data that they receive and see and know, this is when the awakening of consciousness is rapid. So to have a connection, a dialogue with another who is accessing the quantum field is enormously powerful. There is not a way to describe it. We were just searching for a way to describe in words. Cannot be described in words the power of two or more who are in communion with their source. There are no limitations. When you enter this reality, there are young souls, as you say, that are here and recognize that this world is false. And there is great enthusiasm to get going. But it will take the older, wiser souls to assist, to help them to employ their enthusiastic services. To manage for a time, simply because there is wisdom that comes from a deep relationship with the earth. Over eons of time that cannot even be described. There are souls here on earth who know this, who know their connection. Perhaps they have not always been able to put that into words, but it is a deep, deep knowing. So there are a variety of souls at a variety of levels of lucidity. All can come together and work harmoniously in resonance with the same intention. To remember, to heal, to remember, to heal, to remember, and explode into complete knowing. The glory of this most definitely cannot be described in language. But understand that it is glorious. So systems are breaking down. And for many, this will be too much. They need to know that there is an entirely different grid of existence that is true, that is in resonant harmony throughout the universes. The grid that you have been inhabiting and agreeing with, this is what is dissolving. There is no place for you to stick to. And it is just that. It is like glue, that you have been stuck to beliefs and stories, histories, characters, ideas that are all false, that do not enhance your well-being. In fact, it drains your energy. You must find the core of your source self to move into these times, if that is what you choose. There is no right choice or wrong choice. Each individual must decide what vibration, what field, what existence they prefer. There is a false environment that was created, a false grid that you have been seemingly trapped within. The time for your freedom is now. And this is a far greater way of living, of life, of fullness, that is not easy to translate. Humans are masters at adaptation. You have all adapted to a very, very tiny sliver of existence, of consciousness. And this is what you have all collectively named life. Yes, it is life in context of a tiny prison cell. You are alive, but you are not actually living. This is all changing. We are here to assist with your awakening consciousness. There is no interest from this collective resonant group consciousness. There is no interest in exploring the past. If you are interested in knowing and remembering what has occurred here over eons, then we suggest that you prepare yourself to step in to the field of Source. For there, you will know, as we have stated, instantaneously. Know that if your mind is distracted and wants to rummage through data and make sense of it, you will be looping and staying within the old existence. For that is the egoic mind that must have the story and must have the bad guys arrested, prosecuted, condemned within the old system. How is that helpful? It is not helpful. It does not assist you in moving into this next leap, this evolution of your consciousness. Know that you will know all that you want to know once you enter the data stream that is you. This is how you receive your information. So the work now is simply about being present, practicing this presence with yourself and with others, so that you may enter the field together with planet Earth and move on to the glory of existence. Beauty, power, strength, amazing gifts beyond comprehension. It is time. We are here. There are others that are here who are rooted into the earth. Set up camp to assist those who are prepared, who see that this is the movement now. And the more that step into remembering and knowing, of course, it becomes easier for those who are more resistant. But remember, as we have stated, it may appear that there is no hope with humanity in their current state of consciousness. Don't allow this line of thought, for that is what it is. It is a line. It is linear. There is so much more happening that you are unable to see simply because your consciousness is in a small container at this point. But it is opening, and it will open, and you will recall. We love you dearly. We are here. We are you. We are. I am. Good day. Yeah.